Pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let the roll call show everybody's present. And we do have a quorum. Can I have approval of the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda.
Now, been moved in second. Have we approved the agenda? We have any further discussion? None being, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion was unanimous. Passed. Do we have any communications from citizens? None being. Move on to consent agenda.
I would move to approve the consent agenda in its entirety.
I have a motion to approve the consent agenda in its entirety. Can I have a second?
Second.
Is there any questions?
I have a question on the bills. This the very first bill listed on 953, the rural community, that's the planning committee,
Master plan.
master planning, okay. And then it's a car request for vehicle repairs. What vehicle was repaired or?
The Crown Victoria that,
Okay. That just answers my question. And the next one I have is on Ferguson, on the flow meters. We talked about one time getting new flow meters. How many meters need to be repaired or being repaired?
but to replace some, flow meters.
The flow meters are for the wells.
Okay, for the wells.
Yes.
Okay, well repair, not the meters. I took it as meters on individual houses.
No.
Okay, this is just the wells.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have.
Any further questions? None being, all in favor of passing the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None being, motion passed unanimously. Public hearing ordinance 2021-02, Robert's Rules of Order.
You want me to read it for the record?
Yes.
Ordinance number 2021-002, an ordinance amending section 219 of the Shoshoni Town Codes as follows. The governing body of the town of Shoshoni hereby amends the Shoshoni Town Code of section 219 as follows. The mayor shall preside at all meetings of the governing body, provided that in the absence of the mayor, the member of the governing body appointed by the governing body as mayor pro tem shall preside. Addition, subsection A, rules of order not specified by statute, ordinance, or resolution shall be governed by Robert's Rules of Order newly revised 12th edition or any subsequent edition. First reading.
Can I have a motion to approve?
I'll move that, I move to approve.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I want to mention that some folks are concerned that that's a 460-page document, then we'll get bogged down in little fine minutia. But what I was referring to is in the back of Robert's Rules of Order, there's also a section there for small committees and boards of 12 people or less, which allows a lot of latitude. You don't have to necessarily make a motion to discuss something, and it's pretty relaxed, just, so that things move smoothly without getting bogged down.
I have some question, if you're wanting a certain part of Robert's rules implemented, I would suggest that the motion was probably amended to actually reflect on exactly what you want. 'Cause my question that the Robert's rules is pretty voluminous,
Yeah, yeah.
and I really haven't had time to review it. I've seen a little bit
Sure.
on what you're referring to on small committees, and I realize some of the latitude it kind of gives, but specifically does it do for us that we're not doing already?
Satisfies the requirement of Title 15 that requires us to adopt rules of order. It's required under state statute.
What statute?
It's in Title 15.
Can you speak up, please? Can't hear you in the back. Sorry.
What's that?
Up here.
No, I'm just saying that according to Wyoming state statute, we're required to adopt rules of order. It's in Title 15. And I researched, and every town or city that I could find has adopted those in ordinance form, not resolution, because it also says in there that in Title 15 that all legislation needs to be adopted by ordinance. And then as far as how those rules are implemented and which part, that's up to the presiding officer. The mayor has all the latitude in the world. So he can determine to what extent people will be involved in the discussion, when he wants to recognize people. And really, the only thing it does is it can help to add order if the meeting gets a little out of hand.
But can I ask what other than we could adopt exactly what we're doing? I guess I haven't had time, to be honest with you, to research everything to see what we've adopted or haven't adopted. I haven't seen it, but you're correct. The municipalities are supposed to adopt that, but we've been, pretty much running fairly much as you said we are doing now.
Sure.
If you could draw out the section that you would like to be in there, then I'll have a little better chance to digest that and have a more informative opinion of what the difference is of what we're.
Well, the recommendation that I have from WAM and the people I visit with is just say you adopt Robert Rules of Order, and it's up to you how you implement it. That's always, because you run the meetings, it's always up to the chair. how
Correct,
that's
that's
Implemented, yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
much. And I somewhat like a little bit familiar with the 12 or smaller, but that isn't what it
Yeah.
reads.
Yeah, their
That's
recommendation
not-
was just
that's
put
not-
it in there and let you decide, or the next mayor, or the one after that, or the mayor pro tem, or, you know.
So you're gonna leave the motion as is and.
Yeah, I think that's the recommendation I got from, I'm horrible with names.
Did you talk to
Justin, there you go.
Talk to Justin. Yeah, I have been fairly busy. I haven't had a chance to actually discuss that. The way we've been running the meetings is working just fine.
Sure.
I'll just take a look at it, but that was my question. That's because you could get into
Yeah,
the weeds with that pretty easy.
yes. And there's a term for that. I don't remember what the term is, where somebody tries to bog the meeting down. And that's where the chair or the mayor or whomever it is can say, no, we're not going to do that.
No, and
And then
that's,
move on.
yeah, and it's, want to make sure that we're able to, and I believe the small meetings will cover that.
Sure.
But some of the others, the larger does not.
Yeah.
That's a little my concern, like it allows me to ask for comment during discussion from the
Sure.
citizens.
Absolutely.
And the larger, but the small may do allow for
Right,
that.
'cause the
That
large
I'm
one-
more of a little bit of.
Yeah, the large one it's like to even discuss something, you have to have a motion on the floor in the large one. And then in the small one, it's like, no, we can say, well, let's discuss this thing. And then make a motion after that. So it gives you a lot of latitude.
But now I understand what you're wanting. That gives me a chance to review it. It's just want to make sure we keep the public involved and we follow the rules and regulations.
That's in state statute, I believe.
Pretty
Yeah,
much.
that you can involve the community to whatever degree you see fit.
Pretty much, and just
Yeah.
making sure we're staying on that. That was my
Oh, yeah.
concern, Ron.
Oh, boy, yeah,
You know, 'cause like I said, the whole book, that's what the motion says.
yeah.
So that was my concern, that you might want to amend that to address the section that you actually want to put in.
Yeah, I just wanted to leave it that way so it's good from here moving forward, and then you can implement it however.
I guess I'm not familiar with everything enough to.
Yeah.
It's like the Affordable Care Act. I didn't want to read it to see what was in it type thing, if you understand what I'm saying.
Oh, yes.
So any further discussion? Any questions from the audience?
So are we voting on the motion now?
Yeah, if we have no more, if we have no
Okay,
more.
I have something from a concerned citizen. It says to Mayor Highsmith and Shoshoni Town Council. During the last regular scheduled meeting, Ron Ankeny made it very clear that he's pushing hard for the town to adopt Robert's Rules of Order. By Ron's own admission, all the current governing body has been doing is engaging in a pissing match, seeing whose is bigger. In no way is this going to positively affect the town. Ron stated that he wants to adopt Robert's rules for the single purpose of allowing him to bring up anything he wants during a new business. He made it quite clear that this would allow him to just bring something up, speak first on it, and then make any motions he feels necessary with zero notice to anyone. During the YouTube video of last Tuesday's meeting at approximately 2 hours and 38 minutes, Ron stated that he was not elected by his own merit, but rather to overthrow the government. Adopting Robert's rules would give him a backdoor to sneak in to do just that. We, the people of Shoshoni, deserve to have published agendas posted before the meeting and know what is going on in our town. Being underhanded and sneaky does not benefit the town on behalf of many citizens. I ask you not to adopt Robert's Rules of Order, allowing sneaky surprise attacks. We showed up and forced to save the job of the best damn clerk in the state, and we will do it again. Don't take away our agenda as it has been historically used. It gives us advance notice to ensure our voices are heard. Sure, the agenda gets amended, but that does give us at least a small window of notice to rally the troops, as we have seen before. The governing body needs to stop fighting for power and educate themselves on the respective duties and start putting Shoshoni ahead of everything else.
I would like to reply, please.
Absolutely.
Okay, this is from the Mayor Council Handbook that is on Chapter 5, page 5, Handling of Motions. It is strongly recommended that the governing bodies of cities and towns review some well-established manuals such as the Robert's Rules of Order and establish workable rules and follow them to the extent practical in the transaction of its business.
Okay. I'm just letting you know
Okay.
what this town member says, and a lot of people in the town feel this way, including myself.
And I've talked to people about it as well. And so I'm just saying, that's one opinion. This is from Wham,
Mhm.
another opinion.
Well, I think we should clarify, do you have intent to do away with the agenda?
No,
I wouldn't think so either.
But if this gets adopted, he can. It can be done, whether he says he wants to or not right now.
that's not true at all.
I think this, I think this is going in the way
It's
wrong
going real
direction.
negative. It's just. all of a
I'm just
sudden-
reading something from the town.
Well,
That's
that's
not
fine.
negative. That's what town's for.
But that's the whole purpose. Is-
No, I said citizens from the town, not from the whole town, sorry.
Well, we're required by law to adopt something. If somebody has, I just talked to an attorney this afternoon about this, and it was in passing. We were talking about something else. And he mentioned to me that many, many years ago, there was a lady from Wham that was getting real preachy on not adopting Robert's Rules of Orders because of the minutia. And he's a town attorney for 3 other towns. And he told me, he says, okay, if you don't want it, what's the alternative? And I'll pose that right now. If you don't want it, we're required by law to have it. And if everybody's comfortable in operating outside of the law, well, exclude me from that. I'm not comfortable in that at all.
We could adopt
So-
exactly what we're doing.
Yeah.
We can adopt exactly what we're doing now without adopting Robert's rules. And that is, they suggest using Robert's rules as possibly a guideline or something to look at as a source. Well, we can adopt exactly what we're doing if we want to, and that's perfectly
Fine,
legal.
if you want to write out what we're doing now.
Sure. I mean, we could exactly do that. I didn't realize it wasn't done in the past, because this is the way that pretty much it's been done very similar since I was on council the first time, and then continued on. But I haven't seen where it was officially passed, so we may need to correct. I'm not saying we don't need to do something, but I just, from my personally myself, I just wanted to see what the heck we were gonna do. That's kind of where I'm at. You partially explained, part of it, because I'm thinking, it can be, but I haven't had a chance to, I have not, I put in about 70 hours last week or a little over on town business. And I just haven't had time to get a chance. I'm not saying it's not important, but it wasn't high enough on my priority list of things I was doing. I was kept busy, I'm just telling you. So I haven't had a chance, but I'm gonna try to look at it so I get a better understanding of what you want.
My main concern is I want the town to have their voice.
Yeah, we definitely want
It's got-
to, we definitely want to keep,
I don't want anything that could negatively affect that. I don't want to even take a chance of it. So if there is a slight chance that something can happen to that, I am against it.
I just think we need to try to keep our meetings relatively open where the people can be recognized, have a say, and we can just continue on, and I'll look at that. And that just, like I said, I haven't reviewed it, so I can't make a educated decision on it right now. That's where I'm at. So in any event, we have this reading,
And 2 more.
if it passed, and 2 more to sort things out. That's what I guess is what I'm saying. We don't have to make a decision tonight, because I couldn't make a good one, or a knowledgeable one.
Are there any other options?
Or like, we can adopt exactly what we're doing right now. And we said we adopt, this is the way we're gonna run it. This is how we're gonna do it.
No, I just meant if there are any other options besides Robert's rule.
I should
And this, I'm just asking if there's other options.
one of the things I've looked at for guidance, I've looked at some of the other municipalities and how they're doing their meetings. I've looked at several of them to look for guidance, and there's a pretty wide variety of how they conduct business. The main thing is, you follow Open Meetings Act is the biggest thing. To do that, try to keep the people informed and try to follow a guideline as you're doing. That's the big thing, the intent. So that's kind of what we're doing. And it's all spelled out.
Well,
16, pretty
Robert's
much.
Rules of Order was developed to give everybody the right to free speech and not to impede that. That's why it's used nationwide. And Robert's Rules of Order is made to ensure that everybody has an equal opportunity to speak. So I guess I'm not seeing the problem with it, but there's a motion on the floor, and when you're ready, you can call for.
Well,
a vote.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Yeah.
There's no other further discussion. Call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? None. Motion to pass. We move it on to the second reading.
There it is.
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to
I can see it easier up there than I can here.
get you a bigger iPad.
Yeah.
So this one is the expenditures, and I have to try and explain it backwards, unfortunately. So, yeah, I said this is about expenditures and reallocation, and I have to explain it backwards. So try and follow along. If you have any questions, I'll clarify. So what this is taking our current budget amounts after speaking with the mayor about a line item that we are not utilizing, that was budgeted but will not be utilized this budget year, and reallocating that to a different line item. That line item being capital outlay for equipment. And that allows for the reallocation will be distributed in such a manner with Motorola Solutions and Digital Ally of an overage to cover that and that amount. And that's what would not affect the budget overall just by reallocating those funds to that purpose. The rest of the funds are from a grant that we were awarded that I spelled out last meeting or 2 meetings ago for $8,000 plus $1,950 in unanticipated revenue from the sale of the firearms that we sold when we got new firearms at the beginning of this budget year. And those combined expenditures are as follows down here. The 1,950 would in unanticipated revenue would go towards uniforms. By uniforms, that would be for ballistic armor. When we first did this budget, we only had one officer, me. And so when we bought and budgeted, I have officers that don't have ballistic vests. I have officers that don't have working radios. So that's where this stems from, and trying to, instead of increasing the budget that way, we're just trying to take already budgeted monies that's not going to be allocated and just reallocate it for a different purpose. And since it falls under capital projects, that's where council comes in for that 12,000. The rest of it is paid for with a grant from the Highway Safety Department, as well as the unanticipated revenues from the sale of the firearms. And then these are the amounts here for the two items. I can go back, going too fast. And that's for the Motorola radios. The ones that we currently have are antiquated, as we had a year and a half ago. We can't communicate with dispatch with them. They don't work. So we were actually taking calls with cell phones when they work. The new radios that we did get previously in the previous budget year, those are 15-year shelf life. So they won't have to be replaced for the next 15 years. And this would have us with 3 working radios for the department, which would be suffice. The SRO's radio was paid for by the school district, just by the way. So this would be the last radio for the next 15 years we'd have to purchase. The dash cam, we have 2 working dash cams. The rest, we don't have any other body cams, but the 2 and the 2 dash cams. That's all we have.
So I ask a question? Sure, Chris. Am I hearing that we currently have law enforcement officers that don't have their own portable,
Yes,
do not have a body cam,
yes,
do not have a dash cam,
yes.
do not have a ballistic vest?
They have it
That's
outdated.
provided by, I mean, a current one that's
No,
with a plate, if that's what you want.
no. That's what we're currently at. But when we did the budget, this was at a time when it was just me. So
Well, I mean, that's got to be one of our top priorities. Go ahead.
and so
That's
what I-
nuts.
and
Well, it's officer
previous
safety
councils,
nuts.
what I try to do is I try to find offsetting differences in the budget. If we increase this, there needs to be an offset to account for it. And so that's what the expenditure reallocation is doing, instead of just saying we'll spend more money. outside of what we budgeted was take what was budgeted that we're not going to use and just reallocate it for a different purpose. And then combine that with grants to get that taken care of. And so that's the expenditures in a nutshell. And the 1950 would pay the ballistic vests are about $1,000 a piece, and that'd be 2. And then we would have it paid for. And
Mike's
then
grinning.
the net difference of this being done to the overall budget is it actually increases our expenditure or decreases our expenditures by $162. So what was budgeted because it's offsetting with the revenue. It actually,
This is still something that needs to be brought in front of the council.
Yeah.
because I don't have the authority to spend in capital projects for this without reallocation permission.
Can I mention one other thing? If one were to call the local government liability pool and ask them, what do you think about police officers that don't have this gear? I think they'd say, you better be buying it. Well, you know what I'm saying? It's not just the liability, but I think more of law enforcement officers than to expect them not to have a portable radio.
When's
that works
Andrew
in
getting
vests.
out of?
April 20th, when he graduates.
But Mike, say your piece. And then we'll move on.
I just have this visual of the guys swapping shifts and Chris taking off his vest and to the next guy and just rotating
But the
through.
problem
and-
is Matt's 6'6", so I put his on. I'm gonna look like a turtle. I mean,
And then you guys get called onto a scene. Oh, I don't have my vest. I'll wait here in the car and play on my phone until someone calls me back. I just find it humorous. Not humorous on your behalf, but as far as it's an oddity.
it would be a show to behold for sure.
I mean, it's no different than the fire department. I mean, as far as we're provided with gear with expectation of that gear. If we don't have the gear, they say sit in the truck or don't show up. And I can see kind of on your behalf,
We don't have that option,
right?
but yeah, same sentiment.
Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and second that we approve the reallocation of the $12,000 into out of capital projects to equipment.
It's moving from capital projects to capital outlay equipment.
Capital outlay equipment. Any further discussion? None being all,
I have one quick. What's the stalker radar?
That's part of the grant, so I don't have that ordered yet.
Oh.
So that's part of the grant, so it doesn't really include having anything to do with the.
Is that a piece or a company's name?
That's the company's name.
Okay.
Okay, I didn't make up the name Stalker, I get it.
yeah,
Another oddity. Chris has got a new stalker radio in Shoshoni. It's odd.
Fair enough.
no further comment. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Business license.
Business license, Bateman Hall Incorporated. What do they do?
It was submitted electronically. I believe Marnie spoke with them.
They are looking into coming in and putting a bid in on a commercial property here. I assumed it was probably Tim Davis's
Okay.
property.
General contractor out of Idaho.
Yeah,
What's their plan? Is there a plan yet? Or
there's not a plan yet. They're just getting things in motion.
Might need to put a reason for purpose on this application in the future, because I don't have any information beyond what Marnie said for it, because there's no purpose column for them to put anything, so that might be something I need to do. For electronic submissions, I mean.
Right.
I apologize.
more informative when we have them in person.
Exactly.
Yes. Did you give any indication of when they were planning on coming, Marnie?
No. No, they didn't. They are just really looking into putting stuff together, and they're not even sure they're gonna come, but they're looking into putting everything together and what the costs are gonna be for them as a company to come in.
Wonder if it wouldn't be prudent to table this and request that information from them?
Mayor, I see we're over on California Street where they start marking everything out on the pavement and sidewalks for utilities. So maybe they're planning on something pretty quick.
Business licenses are what, $10?
Yep, don't cost them much.
Yeah. I'll say,
I thought they were 20. Mine's 20.
Well, could be, I don't have one.
or they went up, so I had one.
Long time ago.
Get a bargain.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Can I have a motion to approve that?
I'll motion to approve it.
Second.
Been moved and second, we approve the business license for Bateman and Home Incorporated. A contractor, a general contractor. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Alcohol permit, B&K Shoreline. This is to serve beer, wine, what's the
Non-mixed drinks.
non-mixed drinks. Estimate 20 people coming. Where's he at? Where are they at? Are they gonna be at the?
I believe
There it
it's
is.
gonna be at the rec center.
Yeah.
Rec
Yeah,
center?
that's down
Okay.
here.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, it is Shoshoni Rec Building. Can I have a motion to approve this alcohol permit?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Moved and second. And we approve an alcohol permit for B&K Shoreline March 13th at the Shoshoni Rec Building. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Discussion.
Oh, discussion, excuse me.
I would note to council that they didn't stipulate the hours. It is
Oh,
stated
good.
as 8 to 12 PM, but I would stipulate that that be added to any approving of that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, just left blank.
Right.
In whatever motion.
See that?
Is that, sorry.
The motion would be to approve the alcohol permit starting no earlier than 8 a.m. and no later than 12 p.m. on March 13th of 2021.
Long day.
Or I'll be.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same. Motion passed unanimously. We don't have any repairs to citizens listed. Do we have unfinished business? Miss Jody, you're raising your hand?
Yeah, I was wondering if I could come and talk to you guys real quick? Or do I need to wait till audience?
Wouldn't have been a great time. Best time would have been communications for citizens.
Okay.
Audience questions, you can do it. then.
Yeah, do it during audience questions, Jody.
What's that?
Do it during the audience questions.
Okay.
Yeah. Unfinished business, appointment of a trash committee. I finally got 5 volunteers. Have Kathy Blair, Bob Zent, Gary Wise, Jake Stetler, and Mary Lou Fullerton have all agreed to be on that committee. The makeup of that is 2 citizens that currently use Wyoming Waste, 2 citizens that use Hopper, and 1 citizen that uses neither, that takes care of his own trash. What was brought up, the Hopper disposal proposal? Oh, question, please.
Yeah, what's the committee for?
Bob, would you explain that? You probably do a better job than I can.
To find the best price for the town for their dumpsters. So there's a dumpster at the town yard, there's one at the senior centers. And find the best price.
Is this just for the town stuff or the whole town,
The town
personal stuff?
personal stuff. So like this building, fire department, the senior centers, yeah, the clinic. So you're still, the citizens are still responsible for their own.
How did you go about appointment for the committee, for the members of the committee?
I asked volunteers, I'm looking for, there again, people that, it was already determined that Bob would be on the committee. So try to keep it fair. We get 2 people that are currently happy with the service they have now, 2 people or 4 people, and then we got 1 person so we have 2 that's happy with the service they have with Hopper Metal. We have 2 people that are happy with Wyoming Waste, and we have 1 person that doesn't use commercial trash service.
I guess you misunderstood my question. I was wondering how you appointed these people.
I
Did you just ask people?
I
to be
did.
on it? Okay.
Yeah, I did. I asked for volunteers,
Okay.
and I had multiple people turn me down.
Oh.
And I've mentioned, that we've been looking for people interested in this, but there's, definitely people didn't want to get involved with it. I thought the motion said, I know originally started talking out with only, but I thought the motion also involved if they could find any cheaper or good solutions for they had any other solutions for the town, had any other ideas. One of the things, we did reach out to the Fremont County Solid Waste. We've talked about that, about opening up if we had enough volunteers, we could do that. But they'll pull their people out if we had 2 volunteers and that they had their 2. I asked if they keep the existing service going. They won't. If we get volunteers in, it's all ours. I mean, that could be something that also could, if we could get volunteers, something like that could come. I don't know. Mr. Stetler.
I think while we get started on this committee, we should pull the minutes, maybe review those, because I believe that Bob insisted, and I may be wrong, that we look into service for the whole town. I believe that's what he said.
I believe that, but I think that may have been a motion. I wasn't here.
I could be wrong, but I would really advise everyone we review, probably on the YouTube video, maybe it was before YouTube, but it was on the YouTube video, so everyone should review that and remember what was said, so we are in line with what was previously decided.
Okay. But whatever, I guess the motion was, we'll look at.
Jake's right.
I think he's right.
Yeah, Jake, you're right.
He is
I did read that, yeah.
It was
I was looking into a franchise.
Okay. I use the word franchise, you're right.
Wyoming Waste came in and gave you a presentation.
Okay, so the committee will follow the guidelines of that meeting and see if there's any solutions for the betterment of our town. The offer disposal proposal will we will it's probably too early, but I think we'll keep that, or if they want to revise that at a later date or something like that till this committee is done before we do anything.
Mayor,
So yes.
I just got a text from the senior center director, and she was wanting me to ask why the council is including the senior center when we pay for our own garbage bill.
It's a senior citizens.
Senior housing.
Not
Yeah, senior housing.
And I caught that too, but I knew what you meant.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, senior housing.
okay. I just.
I get them confused all the time.
So I did.
I haven't went down there for lunch, so I will admit, the senior housing. But I don't know, maybe I'll get fat, I go knock on the door.
Yeah, because that was brought up before too,
Yeah, right.
where
Yeah.
it was just a
Sure.
miscommunication.
Retention of town attorney.
Oh, I wanted to,
I don't have a definitive. What?
Ron had something.
Yeah.
I was actually wanting to make a motion to accept Hopper Disposal's proposal number B or 2. So you're saying that this other old business thing preempts that, and you're gonna go forward with that instead?
Yeah.
And
They can't hear you, Ron.
Oh,
They can't hear you.
Oh, I was gonna say, I was wanting, I've read the option 2 or option B or whatever. What was that, 2 or B? Anyways, option 2 with the individual rollout items. Came to the meeting, wanted to make a motion to go with that particular option because it's so much less expensive than what we're paying now. And when I was asking the mayor is, if we're putting that on the back burner because the old business thing that was set up before
yeah,
precludes that. That's what
yeah,
you're saying. I wasn't here. I wasn't on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
council.
I'm not gonna make any decisions until this is done.
Okay.
Yeah.
So does this need to be tabled?
Yeah.
Because there's no action that's being taken.
Well, actually, this is day-to-day business of the town of Shoshoni. It's really, it's really not an actionable item.
Oh, I wasn't.
Understanding, this is the day-to-day
Understand, I
business
wasn't
of
on
the
the
town of
council.
Shoshoni. And after we went through the process, and we'll
Mhm.
look at what we're gonna do.
Yeah, that's the question.
Yes. I don't believe this amount will exceed $35,000 a year, will it?
You never know.
Okay, I'm just saying. Anyway, but this is the day-to-day business of the town of Shoshone. So, but we'll readdress after this is all done. We'll look at things. That's
Sure.
That's what I'm telling. Down the seat, retention of attorney. I do not have a definitive answer, but I hope to soon. It's very complicated. Issue that the attorneys are struggling with.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to move from the table placed on the floor the dismissal of the town attorney.
Per talking with my attorneys, I don't know if you have that authority.
I can make any motion I wish, Mr. Mayor. And you're telling me I can't make a motion?
I am.
Are you taking
I'm
away my
telling-
right
I'm
as
telling-
councilman?
No, I'm telling you, you may not have the authority to make a motion to dismiss the town attorney.
Our town ordinance reads, I've read it many times to you. Administration. The town attorney himself, when he was interviewing, said he could be dismissed at any time for any reason without cause. It says, once employed, all department heads except the town attorney may serve at the pleasure of the governing body without a specific term, and may be discharged for cause by majority vote of all the members elected to the governing body. The town attorney serves without a specific term and may be discharged at any time without cause by majority vote of all the members of the governing body.
Read section 2. Let me get my notes. If we're gonna argue about this, I'll get them out.
Pineapple and coconut. Pineapple and coconut.
Okay, go to section 2 of our city ordinance.
Section 2,
2, Article 5. Go to Article 5.
under administration.
Under administration, go to Article 5, ordinances.
Section 2, read statutes of parts of towns thereof not
Go to Article 5.
Mike, Article 5.
Amendment or repeal code provisions.
Under boards,
Under A. Article 5.
I'm sorry, my book must not be current as yours. This is what I received when I came on.
Article 5. You don't have article.
No, I'm in
under-
chapter administration. Section 1, section 2, 4,
221, section 221.
Okay, hang on, I'll pull it up here. Yes, section 221. See if I can make that bigger.
thank you.
It's not working for me here. I know, I'm trying, I'm sorry. There we go. 221.
where am I looking?
Okay, if you look at, it says, B, ordinance repeal an existing section shall designate by section number the sections which are repealed.
So where is that, what I read to you repealed? Because I cannot find it. repealed
That's in,
my book.
that's in Article 5. Okay, now, if you go to,
What, you haven't answered my question.
what did I,
Where in my ordinance book that says what I read to you has been repealed?
that's what I'm saying, it hasn't been.
Therefore, it's still in effect. Therefore, I call for the vote.
No, there, okay, go to the home rule, section 2. Bring a copy of that out with me, did I? Is it section? Okay, section 2. Does that have, where's it showing what it's at, what it's repealing? It's in section 2, I'm believing.
Was.
This is what I have for vote.
Section 2 at the start, do you have that?
I don't have my home rule information here. I don't have parts.
Section 2, statutes prior there not applicable to the town. It says on statute 15-1-108A, 6C, this is what they're repealing. Statute 15-3-204A, statute 15-3-208, statute 15-3-10, statute 15-3-12, statute 5-6-103, -5-6-104. That's the statutes that they're repealing. We all agree on that?
Or parts there.
More parts thereof, yeah. But they specifically broke out those statutes. Okay. That refers 15-3, that refers to chapter 3 in the state statutes. Chapter 3 of the state statute refers to class 1 cities, the 4,000 population or greater. Those statutes are not even applicable to the town of Shoshoni. What they did not remove is 15-2 is for towns, specifically for towns. If you look at the ordinance, state ordinance, 15-2 is for towns under 4,000 population, which Shoshoni is. And if you look at 15-2, which appears to be left in
What is it? 15.2.1.
15.2, yeah, 15.2.102. The wording is completely different. I will read it. The officers and the officers of the town are mayor and 4 councilmen, all of whom are elected. Unless otherwise provided by ordinance, the clerk, treasurer, marshal, attorney, municipal judge, and department heads as specific order shall be appointed by the mayor with the consent of the governing body and may be removed by the mayor for incompetency or neglect of duty. All other appointments except appointments of members of the board or commission and removal shall be done by the mayor without consent of the governing body. But the important stuff is they did not remove that. I think we can probably all, the intent of the law, intent of what they were trying to do was not have the mayor, like what happened in Lander, and a lot of municipalities, if not more, are where the mayor can terminate if he has a bad hair day, if he wants to on water. But I mean, really, and I'm not in favor of that at all. And that's a good thing. But it appears the action needs to come from the mayor. That's where I'm at. These were not repealed, so.
Well, I happen to have the opportunity to talk to several attorneys about this. And it was actually about another item that they were aware that this was going on. They're talking amongst each other. And one of the attorneys that I visited with this afternoon, this afternoon told me that I'm not the first elected official from Shoshoni to ask this question. And I asked him, was the mayor the other one? He said, yes, indeed he was. And that particular attorney told me that he and 3 other attorneys, so that's 4, have talked about this, and that Section 4B prevails. And it's their opinion that we have the right to dismiss, according to our charter statute, to dismiss the attorney. And that's 4 of them.
I haven't talked to 4 attorneys, but I have talked with Mark Harris.
You talked with Mr. Sollers.
I did not talk with Mr. Sollers.
Well, then I guess he lied to me.
Well, he must have. If he told you I talked to him, he
Well,
sure did.
He said another. Well,
I never talked to Mr. Sollers. I most certainly did not. But I have talked to Mark Harris. And so I'm waiting for in writing. I've asked him for it in writing.
Mhm.
He gave me his interpretation of it, and I asked for it in writing, and we'll see where that's going. I'm also waiting for another attorney to give me his opinion on this. He also is going to contact Mark Harris and go over it. That's exactly where I'm at.
Chris, there's a question from someone in the crowd, and they're trying to do it on Zoom, and they can't figure out how to do it. I sent you a message with the person's trying to do it.
But if as I've told you before, if I'm instructed that that motion can come, then I will accept it. And I'll even call for a special meeting if it's that important that you want to do it. I may know tomorrow, Thursday, or Friday. I'm hoping I'll know. And if you want to make that motion, I'll call for a special meeting and we can do it then. If they say that the motion needs to come, that the motion can't come from you, Bob, then I will do it. I don't know if that motion can come from you.
The motion's on the floor and it has been called for in the past.
And there again, I told you, I don't believe that's, at this time, the information I've given, I don't know if that is a legal motion, so I'm not accepting the motion. As soon as I know that it's a legal motion, I will accept it.
I just see you stonewalling.
I'm not stonewalling it. As soon as I know it's a legal motion, I will accept that. Mark Harris represents, 98 municipalities. He's probably more well-versed in this than anybody we have in Fremont County. So,
Well, the suggestion I received is, well, I might as well throw it out there. The suggestion that I got from 2 attorneys is that, for one thing, that motion that Bob made goes away.
You're saying two different things, Ron.
Huh?
A while ago, you said you had 4 attorneys,
No.
and now you're down to 2.
This is, Kathy, listen,
I am.
the suggestion that I got as to how to proceed from 2 attorneys. There's 4 attorneys that said we may proceed. 2 attorneys gave me a suggestion how to proceed. There's a difference. Okay?
Okay.
And here's what they suggested, and I'm going to go for this because this is serious. This could lead to grounds to remove you from office, Mr. Mayor. Are you aware of that? Under Title VI.
no, only thing I'm telling you,
So-
I'm not doing only doing it.
Okay.
If I know it's a legal motion, I will accept it as a
Okay.
legal motion.
And here's what I
And
was,
as soon
here's
as I
what
get
was,
that, I will react.
here's what
I
was
don't think the
suggested
board
to
is
me,
allowed to be able to make a motion at all.
is that Bob change that motion so that it's for no cause. You refuse it if you want. I appeal it. And then you can see where that goes. Then you can refuse the appeal. And then I can move to have the mayor pro tem hear the motion. And then he can refuse and then let the chips fall where they may.
Now we get rid of you.
I got a question. Why are we so focused on an attorney that's done a damn good job for our town?
Because he
Why don't,
has.
no, I'm talking. My
Let
turn.
me answer that.
No, I want to speak
Go
first.
for it.
I'm not
You're
done.
right.
Why don't we put a quarter of your guys' energy into doing something for the town, for its future, instead of trying to bury the damn town? Now you can answer. Now answer.
My name is Mike Dimick. I'm speaking on behalf of Hopper Disposal, not on behalf of as a council member. Answering your question, we have tried for years and years to provide garbage service directly for the town of Shoshoni, not the citizens, but the town specifically, what Mindy had proposed the last meeting. Years and years we've tried to push this town forward, to push a small business forward into this town. So that being said, I don't know what else in the world to do but to beg and plead and get down on my knees to ask the town to support a local business to save the town money. So in lieu of what the argument is about people that do a great job, I don't know how you pick and choose. This person does a great job, so let's fight for them. And this person, we don't like him, so let's stonewall it. But that's me speaking as Mike Dimick, Hopper Disposal, not as a council member.
Okay, but I got a question. Since this does involve you, doesn't that put a conflict of interest on your vote?
So I will, so I have had zero input into the conversation. I absolutely would abstain from every vote because of
Fair
that.
enough.
Everyone from your church ain't gonna side with you?
I don't know.
I have another question too.
But
Um,
Like I said, that's,
No, I'm sorry, you keep, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. If you're-
that's all I said. I wanted to step out of that role
Okay.
so I could
That's
speak just
definitely
on
fair enough.
to
I
that.
appreciate that. Absolutely. Actually, the question that person was trying to ask, let me pull it up. Did they ever get through?
I don't got it.
Okay. Is, for Bob, due to your wife's involvement with the attorney, 4 years of working together, her professional reference for him to the city of Pavilion, and the youngest daughter interning for him, is that a conflict of interest for you?
What my daughter does is up to her.
Still
So,
conflict of
no,
interest.
I'm just answering that. My daughter is no longer resides in the state, no longer works. So That is,
This is just from someone
okay.
from,
For my wife, yes, she suggested he works for the town of Pavilion at one time.
Mhm.
Now, to answer the question why I want to have him dismissed. Based upon section 4, ordinances, chapter 2 on administration, department heads. Once employed, all department heads except the town attorney may serve at the pleasure of the governing body without a specific term. This governing body, with the exception of 2 members, dismissed 2 department heads without cause. They were not given.
you voted for one of them.
Your attorney, I'm not arguing with that.
So why do this now after you said it was okay?
Because according to our mayor, he said he wanted to follow the law. I'm following the law. I'm following this example.
Sounds like you're following a sidestep.
And therefore, and I know
No.
they're talking about suing the town. I've heard that. Which means the town attorney should be protecting the town.
I still don't feel it was an illegal dismissal.
No, if we could,
So
Give the-
we need to stop this discussion because we may be
yeah,
getting.
that's what I'm saying. We need to,
Then we need to stop everything on Perry also.
No,
Yes, because it's gonna come out.
no,
You got town here that wants answers, we're gonna give it to them.
well, it's.
You want me to give him some?
Yeah, I got something for you too, Ron.
I'll give him some.
I just want to say one
Well, it's
thing.
up to
Let's
the
get
mayor.
this straight. Okay. I am agreeing that the council has the right to I'm going to agree that the council has the right to terminate Perry Marple. That's not my argument. My argument is, can the council make the motion to do the council initiate the action? And that's my question.
We
And if
discussed
the
that.
council can
Yes, we
initiate the action, I will accept the action and bring it to a vote if that is what I legally should be doing. But I would be not doing my job to accept an illegal motion. And that's why I've reached out for advice. And it's a complicated, I don't know if there was even an attorney involved that wrote this. It's so poorly worded that the attorneys I've talked to just, my gosh, that our charter ordinance. It's very poorly worded. They're removing statutes that have no application to the town of Shoshoni. And they have statutes that are applicable to the town of Shoshoni, they did not remove. I know the intent, and I think that's important, because I don't think the mayor should have if they did that to remove the mayor did not have the authority to just willy-nilly fire somebody. I agree with that. I remember when it happened to a friend of mine in Lander, the chief of police. That is needless to say. But if I can get legal advice, like I said, I talked to Mark Harris with WHAM. I've asked for a written statement stating that. If that doesn't forthcome, then we'll move ahead with your motion. And my question, as soon as I get that confirmation, if it's tomorrow, I'll call for a special meeting that should take 5 minutes. We'll remove Perry Marple as attorney. I agree that you have the authority. I believed in the spirit of anything, the authority to do that. So I won't fight that. My question, does the mayor have to initiate the action? And if the council can initiate the action, then we'll initiate the action and we'll do whatever the council votes for. That's where I'm at on this.
Why is it such a concern of the 2 others filing a lawsuit, but dismissing Perry by the steps that were performed on the other 2, saying that there's just cause there wasn't just cause to release the other 2
Yeah.
from their duties, but there's just cause to release Perry.
Yeah.
But how come the town's not concerned with Perry doing the same thing the other 2 were so-called doing?
Well, we just need to, Jordan, honestly, we just need to drop that. We need to drop that.
I'm just saying, I don't
Yeah,
want to see the town.
but we really just need to not go down that rabbit hole. Appreciate everybody being here, but there again, my intent is follow the rule of law, which that's my intent on this. And if the rule of law, if the opinion comes that the floor can make, it doesn't have, the action does not have to initiate with the attorney, with the mayor, then that's what exactly we do. Because I agree that you do have the authority, but I don't know if you have the authority to bring the motion. And if, once I get that clarified, and I got another attorney going to talk with Mark Harris, and work that out, and if that comes back, that's what, and I may have that answer tomorrow. I wanted it tonight. I don't have it.
We did talk about that in your office, the two of us.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I do
So,
not know.
We are on the same page.
Yeah,
on
I
that.
do not know.
But
That's
there's
my,
other things that you guys
yeah,
aren't privy to.
but that's,
Good job. We agree
I
on
do
that.
not know where the authority, if it can come from the council for the attorney, because if you, then so be it. And we'll proceed. So that's been my question. I'm trying to get an answer, and attorneys are busy and they're complicated, and they look at this and they're, Jesus, who wrote it? It's so poorly worded. It's not very well explained. They're, like I said, they're talking about chapter 3. They're removing all these statutes out of chapter 3. They're not even applicable to the town of Shoshone. Chapter 2 is for towns.
Yes.
Chapter 3 is for first-class cities. So they removed state statutes that didn't even apply to us. What are they thinking?
Apparently they weren't.
Well, so this is not and honestly, I'm trying to retain the town attorney, because to me, he has helped the town a lot. He's gave us a lot of advice. He's done a lot for nothing. When I appointed Perry, I talked to the past mayor, and Pat Mayor said, the mayor works more closely with the town attorney than anybody else. The mayor has to have confidence in that town attorney. And Mayor Peters and Perry had a disagreement. Perry resigned and walked away. And Mayor Peters confirmed that. He said, yeah, we had a different opinion. We didn't get along. But honestly, he was a good attorney. He served the town well. And if you're comfortable with him, hire him. Because I heard all these rumors and people making accusations that Perry was not a good attorney. So I talked to Mayor Peters. I figured he'd give me the proof I'd been asking for. And he did. It's just like you get a good recommendation from a mother-in-law that don't like you, was my analogy. And so Scott says, if you're comfortable with him, hire him, because it's an important thing. The mayor has an attorney that he's got faith in and that you can work with. And so I'm fighting, but I will follow rule of law. If the rule of law says Bob can nominate to have the vote to remove him, and that's exactly what we'll do. I'm just asking for clarification, and I was having such difficulty in Riverton, I reached out to Wham, because we're getting frustrated, no answers, or looking at this and then tell me it's complicated. So I went over with Mark Harris and we reviewed it, and that's the recommendation he gave me. But I'm not just taking his recommendation and going to town with it. I've requested to have it in writing, and I've told the other attorney this is what Mark Harris recommended. The other attorney is going to talk to him. They're going to decide whatever they decide. It is what it is. But they're going to be talking, and that's where I'm at.
Well, I'm actually.
Honestly, that's what I'm saying. And whatever it is, I'll go along with it.
I'm kind of embarrassed because I did not catch 15.3.
Yeah, 15.
I did not even see that.
15.3 is first class.
I know it is. I didn't even see it. So,
and
thank you for explaining that.
And that's first class city. So everything they kicked out did not even apply.
Yeah, I was just reading that and assumed outside of you and me that it was 15.2.
And there's attorneys that's done the same thing you have, Ron.
Yep.
But you gotta read, it's first-class cities, that's what they removed. And in our own stat ordinances, it says if you remove or replace anything, it's gotta be stated. And they did that, but they 15.3 doesn't apply. They left 15, Mark Harris told me 15.2 was left intact. But I know what the intent of the law was.
Sure.
The intent of the law, 15.2 says it's still the mayor, but the intent of the law, the mayor, I know when they wrote it, I know what they wanted to do. So I'm not gonna argue that point. I just need to know where it comes from. And if 15.2 is intact, it looks like the mayor has to make the action.
Mr. Mayor, I have another question. People are having a hard time getting in with Zoom. Just to let you know, something we can work on. This is from Monica Nunez. She says, this is word for word, how can Bob be involved in the Perry thing at all? Major conflict with past relationships between Perry and Becky, working together, professional referral to Pavilion, her asking Perry to let daughter intern with him, and the council firing Becky. He shouldn't be involved at all. That's from a townsperson.
Yep, I don't. We got any other comments?
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
asking what the answer is for that.
Be honest with you, honestly don't know, that may be a conflict. Honestly, I honestly don't know. That's above my pay grade. But I'm fairly sure, Mike, you can't take your hat off as a councilman and represent your company.
That's why I stepped to the podium. I was the
Oh, yeah, I know.
That was the best effort.
I know there was, I don't think there's any ill intent, but I think that's not allowed.
Well, I apologize for.
Yeah, no, I don't believe that's allowed to make a discussion. I don't believe you can be in the discussion, and so, but that's
fine.
Sure.
I mean, just saying.
Well, you can strike it from the minutes.
So, but anyway, but so. Will you remove your motion until I get an answer from the attorney? And if I get the answer tomorrow, I'll call for a special meeting tomorrow night, and you can do it tomorrow night. As soon as I get an answer from Mark Harris and the other attorney involved, get an answer from them, I'll respond. If you and if you want to do it before our next meeting, I'll gladly do it.
I'd like to table it because I think we need to look into a conflict of interest. The town person asked a question, they need to be answered.
You're probably a good point. I'd have to step outside to an outside attorney to get a legal opinion on that.
That's what I'm asking for.
Conflict of interest has to do with personal monetary gain.
I want an attorney's opinion.
Just read it.
How about we just get an attorney's opinion?
Okay.
You guys asked for him, why can't I?
Joel asked for an attorney's opinion.
But I said I don't know. That's out of my.
I know if some of you guys would spend more time trying to move forward than rip us newbies a new ass.
Move forward? You haven't done one thing on the table to move the town forward besides trying to put it down for things that have been done.
This is why we need Robert's Rules of Orders. We have voted on one item that had to do with moving forward, and it was that sewer thing, and all three of us voted to move forward.
After a big fight.
Well, Ken.
Yep.
Will we
Don't
accept
want any more
promise?
grandstanding. That's a quote from Joel. Let's talk about a cop car.
Yeah.
No, let's answer Joel's question. C.
Okay.
2 weeks, next council meeting. I'll call for the vote.
We'll make a decision one way or
If
the
it's
other.
not, so at that time, I will call for the vote in 2 weeks.
Yes.
If you don't have an answer for me before then.
Okay, and if we have an answer for you before then, you want me to,
Yes.
I'll let you know when I get the answer, and we do what we want, whatever you want.
And then I also want our townsperson's question asked. answered.
And I'll look at that. I'll look at both issues.
Thank you.
Be happy to. Honestly, I'm not trying to avoid this. I'm just trying to do the right thing. That's my goal. Whatever the rule of law is, I'll follow. Police vehicle bid. Good, we're moving forward. I appreciate it. Thank you for everybody's patience. Chris, could you please bring this up, and appreciate everybody comments that are watching on YouTube.
Okay, so just to kind of bring a refresher from the last council about a year and a half ago when this started, the idea was to modernize, but also decrease the broken down vehicles, the amount of money that's going into repairing the vehicles. And so the solution that was brought to council was utilizing the $20 surcharge in every citation written by the Shoshoni Police Department as a funding mechanism for the purchase of a vehicle, not using taxpayer money, so to speak, from our revenues that are generated or that are given to the town of Shoshoni. This is purely what's generated from the Shoshoni Police Department. Since we have a small fleet of vehicles overall for the town, it wouldn't be just the police department, it would be all city vehicles, which would be 6 vehicles. The plan was a 6-year plan. The idea of that being is that every vehicle will eventually be under warranty, thus negating any major mechanical costs incurred by the town. At the expiration of its service life of 6 years, the vehicle would be traded in with the revenue generated from the 20% or $20 surcharge in each citation, would then purchase another vehicle, and that vehicle would be swapped out one a year. And that way the town saves money on repairing it. Just for example, in 2019, the town spent $11,000 in vehicle repairs. So far this year, we spent $7,000. We've gotten 2 new vehicles that carried over, so those aren't being repaired, the Crown Vics. I will say that the one Crown Vic that I refer to as Frankenstein, being that to start it, you have to flip a switch and then you have to turn it back off when you get home. That vehicle now has a broken head gasket, and it's only a matter of time, and I'm not going to ask for money to repair an engine for a vehicle that's worth
Absolutely nothing.
Our other vehicle, the other Crown Vic, that's a spare vehicle, is operational, but does have 160,000 miles on it. It doesn't have any working police equipment, and adding brand new equipment into that $10,000 radio, and you start moving that radio from vehicle to vehicle to vehicle, how long before that radio no longer is functioning properly electronically? So we could take the equipment from one vehicle, put it in the other vehicle, but that radio again doesn't work. So we're kind of in that position. The other alternative is running a vehicle 7 days a week, which would negate the purpose of having a vehicle under warranty, reducing costs over a 6-year period, having a trade-in value associated with it. So that's the premise of how this started. Now, there was some other aspects that I've been talking with Councilman Ankeny about on bids. And so our authority to cooperate on bids is 16.1.101. And what that does is that gives municipalities the authority to use another entity's bids, primarily YDOT, but it doesn't have to be, to purchase a vehicle. Now that can be initiated before the bid is placed by saying, hey, we want to cooperate together, let's both put in a bid for these vehicles. Or it can be initiated after that bid has been awarded, and then you contact the dealership, and then you actually, if it's in the operational period where they are ordering vehicles, then the vehicle gets added to that at the purchase price that was awarded in the bid. That is how we purchased the preceding 3 vehicles. That is spelled out in section O. of government entities cooperative purchasing. Again, it's primarily initiated for the Wyoming Department of Transportation, but it doesn't have to be, which is spelled out in 16.1.101. And so there's 3 ways we can purchase a vehicle through a bid process initiated by another entity. One being, we request, hey, YDOT, we want to be on your bid. This is what we want. They add us onto it, and then they order for us, but we still have to go to the dealership that gets awarded the bid. Number 2, they are awarded a bid for a select number of vehicles. They give us the information for the dealership that was awarded that bid for a specific model year, specific specifications for a vehicle. We then contact that dealership, and that dealership will then order that vehicle onto that bid for the bid price they gave to YDOT. Piggybacking, essentially, is what that does. It just saves duplicity of bidding for a vehicle. The caveats to that is we can't just go pick a vehicle off the lot and say we want this vehicle. We would have to actually initiate our own bids to do so. So we are limited on what we can order. And it has to fall under that. In this case, the bids that are available were for a Chevy Tahoe, the idea of which would be eventually for it to be able to be fitted as a canine vehicle. That is not the Tahoe, that is something else. However, that process here has already been fulfilled. And that's not because we can't be on it, it's because GM is no longer building this vehicle on this bid. So we can't use this bid now. Unless YDOT, or in this case, Highway Patrol, decides after the vehicles arrive, they say, we don't want all of them, we don't want this one. Well, then we could get that honored on this bid still, but the likelihood of that happening is probably slim to none. So that leaves us with the only available options at this time for the YDOT being the Durango, which we currently have out there in 2 different models. One for $32,000, one for $29,000. The options are listed on there on how they would be, and that vehicle would actually, we wouldn't actually take possession of this vehicle until next year. It wouldn't be this budget year. It just puts us on so we can actually have it ordered, not hoping somebody backs out or duplicating this process again by actually advertising, which we could also do. There is no, and when I did allude to backing out, there's no penalty if we don't take delivery.
Just like the vehicles when we picked up the pickup.
Correct.
Yeah.
No, the Durango. The Durango.
The pickup, we also could have backed out.
Oh, yeah, we could have backed out, yeah.
Yeah, we could have backed out with no.
Wasn't that one that was on the lot that somebody else decided they didn't want?
School district.
No kidding.
That was the Durango.
That was the Durango.
Durango school.
Oh, that was okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, the pickup's a police package.
And then, so that's how this process works. It's a specific model year, specific specifications, and those are the 3 stages that you can honor that bid to meet the statutory. And that's what Lander does, Riverton does, municipalities throughout the state do. I have been in conversations with Tony Tolstad as well as Brian Eggleston about their process, and they've got 100% audit. So there's not an issue with this process. It's just, that's the process in a nutshell. So
The theory of this is piggybacking with them, we get the buying power of the state. Instead of, theoretically, they shouldn't be able to get a better deal because of the volume than we get.
So you're looking at one that'll accommodate a K9?
correct. That's why we would prefer the Tahoe, but
Well,
the Durango's actually, this is the XLT up here.
I was gonna ask if it'll work, because it can be
Yeah.
retrofitted.
This one, because the way, well, those Durangos, they have that extra long, so it'd be a half cage that goes to the back, and that would be the K9, and the left side would be the cage. And being in Shoshoni, this is a major thoroughfare for drug. That's about as far as I'll go with that statement, but it is what it is.
We'll keep them on the run.
We are the crossroads of Wyoming.
Well, yeah, Kevin used his dog constantly.
And the thing is, with Fremont County, we have one working dog in the entire county between every agency. Well, we have 2 now because we have a working dog in Shoshoni now. But other than that, we have 1 dog in the entire county.
That is fantastic news, Chris.
So, but this vehicle wouldn't be this budget year. And the way it's paid for is that the $20,000 or so in surcharge that will generate this budget year, combined with the anticipated $20,000 of next budget year, those two combined, if we encumber the 20,000 into that, would be 40,000. That's how we purchased the vehicle without having a trade in. That's how we're funding this over time to get the 6 vehicles.
So you're using your own earmarked funds to,
Correct. Not taxpayer funds.
well, and they're earmarked for that purpose anyway.
And by ordinance or resolution, they're earmarked for that purpose. And so the anticipated trade-in after talking to, Fremont Motors, on that Durango out there would be about $15,000 if I kept it under 80,000 miles after 6 years.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah. Well, probably not. I'm gonna guess for 10, but at 20,000 a year, the two numbers are pretty close, even if it's $10,000 plus 20,000 anticipated. And that's based on the trends over the last 3 years, including last year and where we're at this year. It's self-sustaining is the point.
That's what, yeah.
And that's what we're trying to go for, is not, but it also will save, where it does save actual money is in the maintenance cost. Because that $11,000 that's currently being spent on repairs, $10,000 or $8,000 so far this year, well, $7,115, sorry. That can be reallocated for other things, personnel, whatever, equipment, anything else, not being put into repairs.
Lots of time, if you drive an old Crown Vic's like an old car, you're paying for a new one and driving an old one because all the maintenance you're putting in to keep the darn thing running.
I have a
And
question
also,
that's,
go ahead.
I'm somewhat familiar with this because school districts do the same thing with buses. But the big concern that comes in, and fire trucks, the fire district with their fire trucks, is if you get a bunch of stuff all at once and then they're not on a replacement cycle, and then 6 years down the road, it hits you all at once. I mean, is that going to be an issue?
So this would be one, with this process, we actually kind of leapfrog because of the reimbursement we got for the police department and all of our COVID money.
Sure.
That actually gave us the ability to purchase the maintenance vehicle. And so we're actually a vehicle ahead. So this year, there would be 1 year where we wouldn't purchase the vehicle, but we'd still hit the 6 vehicles because the one extra one we got. So at the end of 6 years, the end of the 6 years from when this began, when that Tahoe gets traded in 4 years from now, we'll be at every vehicle to be replaced. The next vehicle to get replaced would be Buddy's pickup truck.
Okay, so you would have them on a replacement cycle.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, a replacement cycle. So
Yeah,
you hit you all
it would
at once.
alternate, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the idea with that is that this vehicle, one vehicle could actually be kept because of the extra one we got with Buddy's not using, well, I guess it was taxpayer money, it was government money, but federal government money, would be that the town would have a travel vehicle for council and mayor and stuff. Instead of using your own personal vehicles to go attend conferences, to attend things, you could use a city vehicle to do so.
One thing to keep in mind too is the safety. You know, I mean, we had Chief Blitz who had a attempted suicide at Fastlane. He couldn't get the car started. I mean, you know, we can't have situations like that. We need to have our police officers in safe vehicles.
I have that smile that Mike had. I could just see a police officer with no vest, no radio, and a car that won't start.
Right. No, we're trying to make giant steps.
Yeah.
Chris, I have a question for you.
Sure.
On vehicles, what about purchasing of the extended warranty just in case there is a lapse in time of repairs?
That could be something that could be done. Thing with the extended warranties though, it doesn't have to be initiated at the point of purchase. It can be added on after the fact. So that could be something that we might look at if we're 2 years into it and somehow Buddy has 40,000 miles on his car because he had to make daily trips to Casper. That might be something we could add on midstream before the 6 years. It doesn't have to be done with the original purchase. Most of these vehicles are 60,000 miles, powertrain, 36,000 bumper to bumper.
One time we talked about taking police vehicles and then rotating them over into the maintenance.
Yep.
What happened to that program?
Well, that's kind of
because you talked about trade-ins all of a sudden, and so that got me confused.
Because it changed with Buddy's vehicle that he got we got from the COVID aspect of things. That allowed us to be able to keep one vehicle instead of rotating a Durango and trading that one in, because we were gonna get pickup trucks we could convert over. The Durangos were just gonna get traded in. But that we're able to keep one of those Durangos for a town vehicle for the town council, so we don't have to trade that one in. That's still something we could trade off, but in this iteration, we don't have to do that.
Thank you.
You still have a spare, don't you, Bud?
What's that?
The pickups over there, you have a spare, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, you have 4.
So his vehicle would be another 2 years before that next,
Yeah.
this one would be next year, and then he'd get the pickup, so
But that's.
take care of it.
I wouldn't trust it even over the river. You know, I mean.
Yeah.
Not halfway. Keep going, the rest. It starts though.
And it looks like both of these models have the same engine, both all-wheel drive. I don't know where the difference is.
Haven't had a chance to review and see what the difference.
Oh,
One a pursuit package and one not.
yes,
Okay,
that's the difference. One's got the beefed up suspension, the beefed up radiator. The other one is like what I have out there. Mine's not a Pursuit, one Tech. So that's the difference between the two.
You chased me anyway.
Well, now my radio works, I would.
the one is just more heavy duty radiator, transmission cooler,
Yeah, it's
suspension.
skid plate.
In case you get a high-speed chase like we had a month ago, I'd be better suited for something like that. Hope we don't have none of that. Also probably has a higher resale when you sell it too.
Which one, Pursuit?
Yes,
Mm-mm.
no?
Mm-mm. No, so off topic, but when the state sells their vehicles, like the Tahoes, for example,
Right?
typically, so they all sell out of Cheyenne and they meet that qualification, 130, 140 miles, 1,000 miles typically. And they're usually right around 5,000 to 7,000 on there. But we've seen with Dodge Charge in particular, that's what we've purchased. That the Pursuit model, the world loves the Hemi. They hate that it has a spotlight on it and that they removed the center console. It's been an oddity that it's not great.
Which is why we keep the center console.
It's a good idea. About $150 on eBay. That's what we have to do.
So is this an informational item or are you looking?
I was
for
doing
permission?
both. I was giving
Okay.
the backstory, the information.
Yeah,
and
I
where it was
didn't know
at.
if you needed a motion to
Yeah.
go forward. Yeah.
If we don't move relatively soon, we may not be able to get on the Durango. Is that what you're?
Correct.
Yeah.
There's a
So we
window
don't-
for orders, just like the Tahoe, that window closed. So we can't order that one. We just would hope that they back out, that it shows up like, hey, here it is. But then we're stuck with whatever color, green, purple, whatever it was they ordered. Versus now Dodge is still taking orders for the bid that was placed. That's where we're at. Of course, being a police vehicle, obviously the pursuit vehicle would be the preferred one, but is the more expensive one.
Can I have a motion to approve the chief of police to order a new vehicle for the next fiscal year?
I'll make the motion to order the vehicle in next fiscal year.
They didn't read the sign.
That's what I was just thinking. They're not working.
Put a light on it.
I guess so.
I'll second that.
Okay, I've got a motion and a second. Discussion. I got one, we didn't identify which one. Are we going with the pursuit vehicle?
No, my concern was that, like, I'd have issues if it was coming out of the general fund or something,
Right.
but it's earmarked for that and it's generating its own, and that's the reason for that. So
Correct.
I'm all for it, but
Right on.
The pursuit vehicle, as the chief requested, then be his preference.
with the dog.
Should we say, if we can't get it, we should say, go for plan B if we can't get it?
Oh.
Is that possible to say? I mean, what happens if, you can't get a pursuit package? Do we still want to buy B, the one?
Let the chief make that decision.
Yeah, because it's cheaper. Yeah, so,
If for whatever reason they say this one's not available, then
yeah, I think we ought to have that backup in there.
I can do that. If that's
Is that the way you want to go? I mean, do you want to get that? Let's get what's needed.
Well, I'll talk to Kyle down at Fremont Dodge as the bid for this. And if he says that the pursuit window's closed now and all they can get is the other one, I would imagine it'd be the same because they're both Durangos, but
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we have that option.
But if we authorize you to spend up to $33,000 on a purchase of a new vehicle, then you're covered either way.
Well, the most it would be was 32,364. They can't deviate from that number.
Right, so if you approve that number and you had to go to the second one, it's already been discussed, and you're good to go.
So the motion is up to 32,364. They're not gonna charge any fees or anything on top of that. They're gonna sneak in.
They can.
Okay, good enough. So that is the motion that we authorize the chief of police to order a new police vehicle, Dodge Durango, $32,364 from Fremont Motors, piggybacking off the state. Any further discussion?
I have one question. What would happen in the event if you had an officer quit or because as of right now, you have two full-time correct? You have the
And a
two
part-time.
full, and if you had one, so this vehicle, it's not prone to sit regardless. I mean, if you had a shift in personnel, somebody left,
It's still get utilized and used.
a part-time
Or
or
at least part-time.
somebody come in.
Till we hire another full-time. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Thank you. Police Department report.
Just begun staffing. Spoke with Officer O'Neill today and the academy, and he continues to do well in his basic peace officer training. There's been 3 officers that actually been pulled out of the academy since it started, so he's still there and he's doing well. I kind of already touched on the equipment issue with the Crown Vic, so I won't really go on that too much. Other than I did note that it's probably an OSHA violation during the summertime to have someone drive with no AC, with a lot of gear on, and probably be an issue.
Especially if you had a vest.
Yeah, with a vest. So I'll skip this calls for service. The Shoshoni Police Department responded to 29 calls for service during the month of February and reported 3 arrests, 1 medical emergency, and 5 agency assists. We also issued 96 citations during the month of February, which is actually more than the combined months of January, February, March, and April 2020. That was with Matt and I, and in February, because we're down 1 officer. So people were moving in February. The average speed was 46 miles an hour through town. Some higher, some maybe a little bit lower, but community patrols continue to be the priority, and with an emphasis on school zone routes during the morning and afternoon hours. We've seen a lot of decrease in speed down California, Maple, and I'm not sure about your road if you're seeing it too, but people are going slower in the mornings coming to school because we're actively patrolling the routes. We did have 1 complaint from a teacher that was stopped, but that's it. It wasn't a negative complaint, just hadn't been done for a while, so they had a little animosity. They were cordial.
No, I'm actually hearing some people about how they're seeing patrol all over town. I
That-
was over at Richard's house down the road, and he's not involved with council meetings. I don't even know if he votes. But I'll tell you, he said that he likes seeing the law enforcement, and sure as heck, one of your officers drove right by while I was there. So he just was wanting to say a big thanks to him that he likes that. He says he hasn't had anything stolen, no gas or anything, and I'm not hearing of any theft or anything because of all the patrolling. I mean, I'm sure there's still some petty stuff going on, but man, I used to hear it a lot. I'm not hearing it all.
And I guess I did mention I was going to try and get a Facebook page going, and the intent is also with that, hopefully soon, for people with animal problems, when they have lost animals, report dogs, they can have a conduit on there that can get responded to immediately. We're not always in the office. We don't have a secretary answering the phone, and sometimes people don't call the sheriff's office. But Facebook seems to be the easiest way to get messages across. Hey, I got a lost dog. That way if we find the dog. I had one board in the police department. I don't know if Buddy remembers when he walked in there, but it looked like a Tasmanian devil went through my entryway to the police department for boarding this dog overnight. It was 6 degrees below zero. It was 12:30 at night. So I put him in the police department. That dog tore up the entryway.
Now you know why he's out.
So I do want to use that. I want the community to be able to use that as a conduit to be able to not only report things anonymously, but also to use it for, hopefully we don't have a dog kennel, but I want to get the dogs back together. Not necessarily give citations for dogs at large, but to return the dogs. I have dogs. I'm a dog owner. I'm a dog lover. Cats, I'm sorry. I don't know if I can help you with that one because they tend to run. But if you have a lost dog, that's the intent, is to get your dog back. And also, I don't know, Councilman Zentz had a decrease in barking dogs here recently or not, if it's still increasing or.
The people who I talked to about this issue are snowbirds, and they haven't returned yet.
Okay, so we'll get back to me on that one. So that's all I got.
Public Works.
I'll answer privately.
Okay.
I'll make it quick, guys.
Well, good. Well, for once, I can come up here and preach some good news. One of them to start with was my last report was there's sewer running from Idaho down the alley behind Fastlane all the way to Maple, having plugs in it. Some of it was due to the wet wipes, which we announced to the community with the water bills that, just because they say flushable doesn't mean it's flushable. I could put a chunk of 2x4 and say flushable on it. It'll go through a 4-inch sewer, but it's not flushable. So anyway, we actually had found where they had ran the rodding machine down there, lost their root cutter at one point, which in turn was sitting in the sewer, flushable wipes still collecting up against it, So we actually found a big problem with that. So got that out of there. So that was good news. All the wells are up and going finally, I'll be the first in a long time. As I spoke to Bob, the flow meters, we're still designing the plates for it to get them installed. We've been working on the parts with the 2-inch water tap that we're going to have to do to run the sprinkler system around that, which we went to turn on there was a 3/4 inch curb there to water the trees that have been put in there. And when they went to turn it on, it blew the curb apart. They had to shut the main line down and emergency dig that and cap it. So we put water back to the street down there. And that was kind of bad news, but it's up and going. The other one was burn permits with DEQ. And I haven't sent it off yet. If you guys feel different, I put in for April 1st through June 30th. But I thought we better get a jump on it, get it through, permitted.
Good idea.
Like I say, I haven't sent it off yet. I was wanting to if that sounded good to you for dates, then I will get it in the mail to DEQ tomorrow and get the permit. So
Sounds good to me.
the other one was finally got a motor grader. And it's Mike and Joel, you know, big thanks for you guys getting out there and looking, and a real big thanks to Mayor Highsmith taking time out of his schedule to run down Friday clear to somewhere in Nebraska.
Gary, Nebraska.
To go look at it. So that was a big relief, because we're coming in the spring and the roads definitely need to be bladed, and now we'll have something to do it with. So yeah.
Do you have an anticipated delivery date? Just curious.
End of this week?
I'm gonna say it was last I heard it was this week. So
End of this week, they should have gotten Chris wire transferred the money Monday to the auction house. The construction company that owned it, Gary, anticipate getting paid today, hopefully. But they told me they were gonna deliver it by the end of this week.
I just want to say that's probably the first time I got to wire that much money to anything. It was kind of fun. Thank you.
kind of fun, huh? But yeah, that's all I got, guys. Unless you got questions for me.
Oh, and it did come in well under what was budgeted.
You're stealing all of my things.
That's why I wasn't going any further. I thought the mayor's report is next. I'm gonna let him, you know, so.
Sorry.
But a big thanks to Joel for going down there and looking at it, because like I say, a few other things going on. I wasn't able to leave town, you know, so could go down there with him to look at it, but he was willing to buzz down there, and he did, and
I had
got
a
it taken
couple
care of.
people volunteer to go with me, but after I'd already came back, well, you went, I don't went
Well,
with you.
too late.
Yeah.
So, so like I say, I mean, personally myself, I want to say thank you to the mayor for doing that.
The
So,
council
I mean, that's a big relief for my department.
You've been working hard for that. It's been a team effort.
Right. Like I say, that's all I
Thanks,
got.
buddy. Lots of good news.
Yeah.
You know, on the road grader, you know, it was, all of a sudden a bunch of graders sort of came up for sale, and somehow I missed my report. The night before, I see these graders are for sale. Call down there, get Mike, already talked to Mike. I talked to all the councilmen where our money limit would be and stuff, what we could do. And Mike was already watching them, so I really appreciate. We really didn't have much. There was a couple blades that were same size as what we bought. Looked pretty good. They had the hours we were looking at, but we really didn't have any knowledge. So Mike and I sort of decided if we could steal one, I mean, really get it cheap, that we'd take a chance. But when Iron Planet rep out of Casper called me, he said, you know, what you guys are looking for, I mean, what you need, he says, there's one in Nebraska you really ought to look at. So I pulled it up real fast, and the maintenance records, Buddy's got them, but they're 128 of them. And then whenever they do their maintenance, they take a picture of the part they're replacing, they take a picture of taking it out, putting it in. They have the mechanic who did the work, how many hours. They take a picture of the hour meter. I mean, it's the maintenance is really important to them. They just really go through it. So that tells you quite a bit. So we thought, well, that may fall in our price range, and they said, well, you know, their minimum price on it was $75,000. So that was somewhere where we might be in range. In auction, you don't know how high it may go, but that looked like it was something we need to look at. The machine was nice. I get out there to Garing, and it's a large construction company, a lot of equipment. They really monitor. They take these records on them. They even had a GPS comment on their machines that while it's running, they can tell the RPM, the temperature, oil temperature, water temperature. They can, if I got a operator abusing it, they know, but they, fuel consumption, I mean, everything. But they're really maintenance friendly. But what was really good, I wore my cowboy hat, and the owner of the company had graduated from UW, wrestled for him. So we got, so we were buddies. And then I'm trying to make a short story long. You haven't figured it out. Anyway, he also was a Mopar guy and drove fast cars. So we had that. We talked that. And he had a Viper and blah, blah, blah. So we started talking how poor the town was. And the tires aren't in the best of shape, kicking them and stuff and walking around. And what's it going to cost to deliver? And anyway, we came up to the arrangement of $67,000 delivered to Shoshoni for that. One of the reasons I said, well, we have to buy tires, that what gets us under that. So, but the tires got some life into them. We'll get here and we may run them a while, or just if we have issues, we'll make our decision. But delivered, 67,000 delivered.
That's the one Ritchie Brothers had.
Yeah, 67,000.
I was talking to Bud. I went back and I looked through what those were selling for.
Yeah.
And
Ritchie
paid about $30,000.
Ritchie Brothers asked me, how in the heck?
20.
So I went to him. I seen on their auction that they had the option to close the auction early if they wanted to.
Oh.
So I said, hey, this is Friday. The auction was still till Monday. I said, what would you take today to close the auction now? I said, I'll buy it today. We'll get you the money Monday, but can we make a deal? What would we do is we don't have to mess with it, And he came up 67,000 delivered to Shoshoni.
That's why I couldn't find it on the auction.
Yeah, they took it off. So we called them. We called them. And Rich, how did you get them to do it that cheap? And they're delivering it also? I said, I don't know. But it's it's a nice machine. It's a lot bigger than what we had. It's an 872G. It's actually the others we were looking at were 872Ds. And this GP has a little more horsepower, a little heavier than the Ds. I believe it should be, anytime you get a used piece of equipment, car, anything, you take a risk.
Oh.
But all the maintenance stuff they do on this, it's risk management, I think reduces the risk. But I think we got a good blade that Buddy could do some work with for quite a while. I think it's one of the better buys I've seen.
I reported this last time. Last report out of Montana, we talked the guy down to 77,000 to buy it and 79 to deliver it. So Joel getting this one was.
And it was also a D model.
Yes.
A little smaller than this one. So we got lucky. Like I said, I think the Wyoming Cowboy had, and we talked race cars, and he had Shoshoni, the middle state, were kind of poor. I did all the options I could think. Yeah. But anyway, I think it'll be to be honest, it's more money than we wanted to spend last year, but I think we got a good value. So other than that, anybody else got anything for the betterment of the town?
Got something. I just wanted to thank the audience for showing up. I've been really working hard on trying to get the town involved. I want this town to stay involved. I want them at the meetings. I want them live streaming, look at it later, whatever it takes. Get in here, say your piece. If someone's knocking on your door saying, hey, guess what I heard? Close the damn door in their face. Tired of the rumors. Completely. The only way this town's going to move forward is everybody getting involved. Hold us accountable, including me. If you got anything to chew my rear, then chew my rear. But we can't do it. I can't do it. I need you guys here. So please keep going. Be out of it. Talk to your friends. Get people involved. If we want this town to move forward and to change, we need your help. And thank you for coming. And that's including everybody that's watching right now. Thank you for paying attention and getting involved, because that's what we need.
Whether you agree with what I say or not, please
we need you here.
Get involved.
And keep telling people, stay involved. Stay involved. I got cards right up there, sitting right up there. If you need to call me, call me. But we need people to stay involved, keep this council on their toes, including myself. Don't let things happen that don't need to happen.
Anything else? Can I have a motion to adjourn? Oh, we got, audience questions. The most important part. I'm sorry. Jody, you are first. Please come up and speak. I apologize.
I'd like to apologize to council. I have a question I'm the first responder and my insurance is due and it's around $700. And I was wondering if the town could, pay that for me.
Have we paid that in the past?
You have paid it in the past. Yeah, and it's sneaking up on me. I've got a notice from my insurance guy. So I was just wondering if the town would be willing to pay that to keep me rolling.
Surely figure out somewhere in our budget to pay for it, Chris?
Yeah,
If you can't, that's fine, but I'm just curious.
I don't need the council.
Yeah.
I have the capability to do that.
Okay.
as long
Right,
as
yeah, we just got.
It's okay verbally, I guess.
So,
Well, he's serving the town.
I don't have an issue with it.
If
I know
I
my
have a
kid
budget.
needs him. I want him here.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
okay.
Absolutely.
I think it's something we've done in the past when I remember.
Yeah. So that was my, I apologize. I didn't get on the agenda. It snuck up on me, but that's
When
my,
is it due?
it's due by the 17th which is next week. What I can do is I have enough money to cover it till you guys can reimburse me. Otherwise I don't have enough money to cover the gas and the oil changes that I take care of.
You can bring me the invoice. I can get it taken care of tomorrow.
Okay. I'll be over there on Friday. I'll try to get it over to you quicker than that.
And just for everyone's reference, it would be paid out of the fire department's budget that they currently have allocated for some monies for that.
Okay.
Bud, do you have a question for Jody or for the council?
How many guys do you got that run that?
Just me. Just me. I'm the only one. So, I guess, looking for volunteers. We meet.
I would like to know about volunteering for the fire department.
This is for EMS. So, you got to go. It's about, I think it's now 90 hours of class. And then the class is, I think, $100 and some. We're trying to get some classes. The biggest problem is I think they're going to try to put them during the day. And I don't know, you may have to, you may have to travel to Riverton. There again, it's up to the state EMS board of who can teach, who can't, and then try to figure out when they want to schedule.
Okay.
How many runs last year did you make alone?
Oh, probably 10. So.
Well, I want to say I appreciate you doing that. That's a thankless job at times. We need it.
We definitely need volunteers.
Yeah, it's so.
Okay.
Well, I'll try to get some schedules and see if I can get those guys to schedule
You
some
bet.
classes and get back with you.
Okay,
All right. Thank you.
very good. Thank you. Any other audience questions? Yes, please, Mr. Stetler.
Jake Stetler. So last spring, we had that whole variance deal, home occupation, and deal with the bakers, which was brought up. My concern is that I made the motion and it was approved for them to get a letter explaining those things to them, what happened in that meeting, which that was before you, Chris. That's why I'm bringing it up now. It was made a motion thanking them for their application for a zoning variance, but it was not necessary due to the fact it's home occupation, which is allowed by R3 where they're zoned, and they've never received that letter. So I just wanted to bring that up, and it was passed by council for them to have that.
All right, you know the date? I'll go back onto the minutes.
It was like right about now.
Right before when Tony was still.
Yeah, Tony was here for sure. And I think it was I think it was in March. I think it was the first meeting in March because it was before the corona.
Mhm.
So that's what I think, but they never did receive that. And that's all. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Jake.
Any other questions, comments from the audience? None being, again, thank you everybody for showing up. It's good to see so many people interested in what we're doing. Now can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. Been moved and seconded.
Thank you.
Councilman Zent seconded.
Thank you.
Councilman Ante made the motion.
We got it. No problem.
No further discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Approved unanimously. Thank everybody. Time is